This classic episode of the Electric Playground is brought to you by PMP Games, your source for everything video games. Support the partners that support Electric Playground. Remember, this episode first aired in 1998.
This week on the Electric Playground, we're going to take a look at Dune 2000, BattleTanx, and also we're going to Planet Moon to visit my good friends there who gave me this t-shirt.
Sequels are as popular as ever. If you thought Final Fantasy VII was cool and you went crazy for Robotron 64, wait until you play Dune 2000.
What is this thing? Explain this guy. What does this do?
That's a giant sandworm. He consumes things.
How wormy. Take us into the world of Dune. What's the whole story for Dune?
Set in the future, but not all the new technology that you'd see in a Star Trek or a Star Wars world. Mm-hmm. There's one planet called Arrakis, which is known as Dune, and that's the sort of the focus of the entire universe. On that planet is a substance called spice that is mined and used. It's extremely valuable. It's the only way people can do space travel effectively. And then there are great houses that are sort of competing, a lot of political intrigue, a lot of sort of religious undertones. There's a Bene Gesserit order of female sort of priestesses that are sort of behind the scenes manipulating bloodlines, and a lot of intrigue, a lot of interest in that sense. So it's a very political, very sort of deep series. Mm-hmm. And obviously there are a number of books in the whole series and a lot of epic characters as well.
What are those things?
Got Paul Atreides with battle magic action. Stilgar the Fremen, complete with wormhook weirding module. It works.
What's the weirding module?
That's the weapon that the Atreides developed that uses their voice to project energy and power. It's basically their secret weapon.
Show us how they did it in the movie.
Something like that.
That's very good. The third in the series of Dune games, isn't it, from Westwood?
They're just taking the elements that work really well. What we couldn't do in 1992, there's a lot more we can do now. Westwood's learned a lot, we've grown a lot.
Are you guys implementing the Command & Conquer game engine in this one?
We're using the game interface, so the same style of game, the easy point and click, being able to drag select multiple units.
Whoa.
We have created a new engine for this. It's a 16-bit engine.
Full motion video sequences for this game?
Yeah.
How were those done?
CG sets, so computer-generated sets against a green screen, and using some new effects that we've never done before, moving the camera and having to track that to a moving CG set behind the camera.
What about the worms?
The worms are there. We have seen worm signs. Here a worm sign, you can see the blue spark on the sand, and it'll just come up and consume vehicles. One thing, actually, new thing that we added that wasn't in Dune 2, the original, is the Thumper. It's a unit that can come and call sandworms toward your enemies. It oozes Dune, and we really tried to capture some of the good moments in the spirit of the movie.
Lewis, thanks for having me down here, man. This game looks great. I can't wait to play it.
Vic, that's my shirt, man.
You're interrupting.
You're wearing my shirt.
Yeah, it's your shirt. Yeah.
This is my chair. Can I please? Can I have this, please? Jeez. Got that. Are there any Spice Girls in this game? The MDK team recently formed their own company, and after taking a look at their new game, the future looks shiny for Planet Moon.
So I'm here with a good friend, Nick Bruty, who is the designer, producer, artist of...
Well, let's call it Giants or says Kabuto. It's got a bunch of working titles right now, and I think we'll just put it up to vote.
You're no longer with Shiny, Planet Moon. Right?
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
After MDK, all the guys got together and we just thought, well, we're doing everything else. Why don't we just have our own company as well?
So who's programming?
You know Andy Astor, remember Andy?
Of course, from
Andy
Earthworm Jim.
Asteroids.
Yeah, exactly. How about the art?
We got art, we got myself and Bob Stevenson.
Bob Stevenson. Well, RoboCop versus Terminator.
Animation, we got Short Nelson.
Oh.
Graduate of the MBK
MBK team, cool. So tell us about the game.
We've got brute force versus technology versus magic, all in the same arena for once. We have 3 different characters, and one of them's a 100-foot tall giant, Kabuto, really tiny space marine guys, and they represent the technology. And then we have the Sea Reapers, and they have more sort of elemental spells.
What are those things?
Now these little guys here, they're the food source of the island. It's a bit like hunting,
Right?
and we go,
Wow, that's
sorry, guys. But you know what? If you really want to take care of business, you get one of these girls and you pull down one for spells. And take them up to about 2,000 feet, and then of course what you're going to do, you're going to switch off the tornado.
oh no!
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no!
There they come.
Here it comes!
Life is
They're
cruel.
falling.
5, 4, 3, 2.
That's so awesome. Twister, each other. Look, that guy's still twitching. What's your favorite part about making a game like this?
Game like this is that no one tells us we can't do anything. You know?
Right.
Just complete freedom.
Cool. Thanks for taking the time, Nick.
No problem, Tony.
Cool.
Thanks for seeing you again.
Gary, it's time!
Shh, I'm trying to play. Wildlife Golf on Nintendo 64 for people who put golf above all else.
Gary! Yes! Oh, yes!
Sorry. F1 World Grand Prix on Nintendo 64. You'll get carried away.
Welcome back. We're studying the Pokemon Red and Blue Pokedex to learn everything we can about these 151 miracles known as Pokemon. Today, our focus is on the ground-type Pokemon known as Cubone.
Because it never removes its skull helmet, no one has ever seen this Pokemon's real face.
That's metal.
The skull it wears belongs to its deceased mother.
What?
When it becomes...
No, hold on. Go back one. All Cubones wear the skulls of their deceased mothers?
That's correct. Also, when it becomes lonesome, probably for its deceased mother, it cries loudly. Tune in to the Electric Playground Classic every Saturday for a heaping helping of video game history and sometimes disturbing Pokemon facts.
Why would Game Freak design such a precious little guy and do that to him?
How will cops fight crime in Los Angeles 100 years from now?
Let's go with the Demolition Man theory. I don't think there'll be swearing or even toilet paper. I think it'll all be electronic.
How will cops fight crime in Los Angeles 100 years from now?
Cops aren't gonna have to fight crime. They'll just kind of give up. You know, they'll just kind of throw it like, just have fun. You know, just be careful.
How will cops fight crime 100 years from now?
With bullets.
In tight little silver suits with tool belts on them with lots of little gadgets and
Stun guns. I don't know, just...
Apparently, 100 years from now, excessive police force won't be a problem in the city of Los Angeles. This is cool. How do I get out of this thing?
Okay, we're at the EA booth. I got Albert Penello here, and we're going to be talking about LAPD 2100. This is what cops in the future will be riding around in.
This is an experimental walker, the X1A. It can transform from a hovercraft, which is actually the cop car that in the future, into a walker. The normal cops can't deal with it, so they send in the experimental walker. It's just one, and it's your job to take care of the
So things aren't getting any better in LA in the future?
No, not any better at all.
Looks like it could be almost an extension of the Strike series.
The production team developing it had a bunch of cool ideas, didn't seem to quite fit into the Strike universe. Strike's about realism, ripped from the headlines types of stories. and the kind of effects and the technology that they were using seemed a little bit more fantasy-oriented. So we really wanted to blow it out, make the best game we could, not have to put it into strike, and conform it to be things that people already knew about the game.
The 32-bit systems have been phenomenal for the little movie bits in between the game. Do you have the same kind of thing here?
Yeah, we're going with CG for this one as opposed to live action. We're using a big name CG house out of LA, whose name escapes me off the top of my head.
But they're big name.
Yeah.
Industrial Light and Magic.
No, it's not.
That's a big name.
It's not that.
Lightstorm.
No.
George Stephanopoulos, that's a big name. What makes it different than the strike games?
Here, the unique thing is that you're going to have to protect and serve.
These are actual physical reality locations. People could drive to some of these places right now, but this is how they're going to look 150, well, 100, how far ahead in the future? I can't count anymore.
120 years.
120 years in the future.
They'll be at Los Angeles International Spaceport instead of LAX Airport. Griffith Park, for example, is what you see right here, famous for its big observatory. That's in there. The Walk of Stars, you'll be having a field day along the Walk of Stars.
So is Hollywood still a thing in LA in the 2100?
Yeah, it's glitzier, it's kind of more out there, and a lot more crime than there is now.
I want you to imitate how this walker gets around. Show the world how he gets around.
Personally?
Yes. Go, boy. Come on, you can do it.
I don't do walker imitations.
Come on.
I can't believe you got me to do that twice.
But we'll only use it once.
All right.
Yeah. What else? What else is amazing?
Well, what's really cool is a two-player. From just a gameplay standpoint, there's not a lot of good two-player games that aren't fighting games. So you're not on the PC, you don't have 8 people over the internet, you got 2 guys sitting there. There's something to be said for yelling at your buddy, telling him where to go.
Well, good luck, Albert. Looks like a killer, man.
Thanks.
Believe it or not, one of the biggest selling games this year is a game called Deer Hunter. Now, we hunted down the developers because we aim to please. I am here with Anthony, who is the president of Sunstorm Interactive, the creators of Deer Hunter, for being the #1 selling game. It's a very simple game, you know? I mean, you think that's part of its success?
It appeals to a new type of customer, a customer who might have just gotten their PC within the last year, a customer that doesn't normally play computer games. A couple clicks of the mouse and you're playing the game. So it's not a technological wonder, but it's fun. It's fun for what it is. It's a deer hunting game. You need to position yourself in the right spot in the woods based on the wind. You need to use your cover scent. You need to use the attractants. You know, it's just like hunting. It's not something that happens immediately.
We were sitting there for like 45 minutes, couldn't find a deer.
That's what makes it rewarding. You put the time in, you're finally rewarded.
So you really need a lot of patience. It's something where you just gotta sit.
Yep.
Did you guys expect all of the great success that the title had?
It was very surprising for it to sell as well as it has, but we knew it would do well in Walmart.
How long did it take you to actually do the product from beginning to end?
It took us 3 months to develop Deer Hunter.
Are you serious? 3 months? That's great. That's cool. Well, thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.
Cool. 3DO is set to go to war on the Nintendo 64 for the first time in a game called BattleTanx.
We're here at the 3DO Suite. I'm with Michael Mendheim. He is the designer for BattleTanx. How's it going, Michael?
Real good, thank you.
Great to meet you. So you and Trip Hawkins came up with
Absolutely.
the story together.
I came with a tank game, and Trip goes, I want a story. You know, we can't just do capture the flag.
Right.
If you had nothing left to live for, what would you die for?
Women.
Yep.
Yeah.
BattleTanx is basically Road Warriors with tanks.
Cool.
And it takes place in real city environments like Chicago, New York, San Francisco. The story is basically that there's been this terrible plague. It wipes out the females of the species.
Oh, man. That's no good.
Okay, so then when that happens, governments start to collapse, and anarchy and chaos rule, of course. It eventually leads to World War III and nuclear war. And militias with tanks came, and they're trying to take wives, daughters, and quarantine them because mankind is facing the threat of extinction.
Wow. What are the multiplayer features like?
4-player,
awesome.
2-player, 3-player. Like, you know, 4 guys can sit around, bet a couple bucks, and play this game.
So are there any female warriors in this game at all?
Absolutely, she's one of them.
This woman right here?
They're like deities now, and they basically build these tribal gangs with the men. Queen Lords make one of the men their best warrior battle lords. And the battle lords, they have two responsibilities. One is to protect her, and the other is to go out and rescue Queen Lords from other tribes.
Cool.
Basically, you have a fortress. In that fortress is your queen.
Right.
And I'm trying to get your queen, and you're trying to get my queen, and whoever captures the queen first, brings her back, wins.
Okay.
In front of your fortress is like this huge tank. It's called the Goliath. It's on a rail. The last thing standing between these guys and her. You can switch, automatically real time to your goalie tank, and the thing slides across this track at like 200 miles per hour.
Awesome. Well, this looks great, Mike. Let's have a game.
Awesome.
More now on the escalating police chase that began as a joyrider's need for speed. Every available officer has been called in to stop the Lamborghini Diablo, and it looks like the sheer number of officers out here is about to end this chase. Wait, the joyrider is going over the roadblock. Whoa. This is unbelievable.
Stick 'em up.
Yes, it's going to be a long night for law enforcement. Need for Speed 3. Hot pursuit.
10 to the power of 6 is 1 million, and that's how many people can play on Heat.net's new game, 10-6. How many friends do you have?
Hey, we're here at Segasoft. I'm with Larry Pacey, who is the executive producer of the Nexus Group. Okay, 10-6 is a 1 million player game, but what I'm curious about is the background behind this thing. What's the story behind 10-6?
Sure. Rogue Planetoid has entered our solar system in the not-too-distant future. It's parceled into 1 million plots of land because it's rich in this new mineral resource.
Right.
And there's a kind of a land rush where everybody on Earth kind of rushes off to become rich getting their minerals.
The old gold rush days in California.
Oh, yeah, but with a lot more high-tech equipment. Okay. I mean, you've got lasers and tanks and bazookas and landmines and a lot more to play with. You're up against other players.
Okay.
The only other time that you're going to face off with anything is that everybody's camp is defended by the troops and units that you've built.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of things, we call them rovers, and they're little mechanized vehicles that can be equipped with different equipment. And what's really great about 10-6 is that there's literally hundreds of different pieces that you can use to modify in the game. So you can put like special weapons onto a vehicle, and only that vehicle has those weapons.
Very cool. And there's like an economy in this game, isn't there? You can buy and sell different objects within the game?
Yeah, we've actually created a scarcity economy within the game. We have uniquely serialized objects in the game so that we know for a fact who owns which pieces.
Oh, wow.
And so there's only a limited number of any type of thing in the game. So if you want a super bazooka, you're gonna have to go out and find one. And what's really neat is that you can do that several ways. You can actually meet with people online and trade. You can also go out onto Heat and actually buy booster packs of these digital objects. We call them LEDOs, limited edition digital objects.
They're sort of like the little G.I. Joe action packs that you can get for your G.I. Joes.
Oh, yeah.
You say there's only a certain amount of these objects. Now, what if there was a way to create factories to build more of these?
Well, that's actually what the game is.
Yeah.
We actually have literally dozens of different buildings, and they each specialize, and they manufacture different things. We have rover manufacturing plants, weapons manufacturing plants, gear plants.
How do you guys get 1 million people playing at the same time?
A lot of technology that had to go into this, a lot of forethought. From the ground up, we knew what we were going to do.
Yeah.
We wanted one persistent universe, one universe where everybody is being tracked simultaneously.
Now, Ultima Online, we talked to Richard Garrett and the guys down in Origin there about their game and their universe, and it's a 2D world, and things are starting to work out for them really well now. Everything is starting to come together, but they're still sort of 2D, 2.5D kind of thing. You guys are going straight into a 3D polygonal environment?
Yes, absolutely. We're immersing the people not only in a first-person kind of view where you're actually standing in your camp, but we also have a top-down view, similar to the point-and-click real-time strategy game.
Sounds like you got a killer franchise.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Larry.
Atari San Francisco Rush the Rock has many cool features in it, one of them being the option to choose secret cars. For example, you hold the music button in, then press View 1 on the changer. You'll get to choose some cool cars like a taxi cab and a Volkswagen bus. Have fun!
Hey, it's time for the Tekken 3 move of the week. This time we got a new one from Julia Chang. You ready for this? She's nasty. Ready? It's up forward plus right kick. Left punch, down forward plus left punch, right punch. Forward plus left punch, right kick.
Today on the Simpatico Question of the Week, Guillaume Couture from Eli, Manitoba asks, can you give me more information about Trespasser?
It's the digital sequel to the Lost World movie. You play the role of this woman, Anne, who's on vacation from New York City, and she washes up on the shore of an island. What that means is that she had better figure out a way to fight dinosaurs using nothing. Now, what our engine does that's different from everything else is that it's totally based on physics. So if you want to beat a raptor to death with a golf club, go for it. If you want to find a gun left by the guys in the movie and blast it with a shotgun, go for it. If you want to take a stick and beat it slowly to death with a stick, that's entirely up to you. If you wanted to, you could like rip the plank off of a building, put it in the water, take another plank and paddle yourself across a creek, run off the other side, pick the plank up and beat a velociraptor to death with it.
To send us your questions, stop by the EP website at www.electplay.com.
Gary, it's time.
Shh, I'm trying to play. Wildlife Golf on Nintendo 64 for people who put golf above all else.
Gary! Yes!
Oh,
yes!
Sorry. F1 World Grand Prix on Nintendo 64. You'll get carried away.
Lee from PMP Games here with my latest purchase, a brand new Sega Saturn control pad. Buddy destroyed one in a heated Guardian Hero session last weekend. A small price to pay for a night of video games with friends. I don't know if you've been paying attention to this internet thing or not, but our days of playing multiplayer games in the same room as one another might be numbered. If only out of convenience. At Past and Present Games, it's our mission to keep the experience of video gaming tangible, as long as possible. Visit our retail locations in Winnipeg or browse our entire inventory online at pmpgamesonline.com. You'll find a myriad of software, merch, and accessories from all generations of video gaming. And enjoy free shipping on orders of $65 Canadian or more within Canada and the USA. Now, back to the show!
I don't know, I thought the controls weren't as good though as they could have been. What? What? Oh man, Vic. Okay, Wetrix.
What about Wetrix?
Wetrix now.
64.
Come on, Vic, you didn't like this game.
I did like this game, man. I'm a puzzle freak. I love puzzle games. I love getting into them, and this one was fun. It captivated me right away.
It was like Tetrisphere with water.
No,
to
man,
me.
it's really difficult. You're getting all these puzzle cubes. They're all landing and dropping down. You've got to organize them, and then you've got to deal with water coming down. And then you've got other environmental effects. There's nothing out there like this thing. You basically have to build walls around water that's dropping down, and you got to keep that water inside the walls. It's impossible.
It is impossible because you were on training mode, the first level of the lesson 1 for about an hour. I don't like these games, Vic. Why do you make me play these games? I don't like.
No, nobody to kill, and there's no Eddie Gordo in this game, so it's pretty much forget it. It's a fast action puzzle game. It's 3D. You can flip the screen around a little bit. I really enjoyed it. I give it an 8 out of 10.
I thought the music was really cool.
Music is great. Yeah, another good feature. What would you give Wetrix?
About a 4.
4 out of 10?
Yeah. I didn't like it. I'm sorry.
What did you think of Einhander for the Sony PlayStation?
I didn't like it. You're talking about a 2D fighter that's very
2D shooter.
2D shooter?
Yeah, you said fighter. 2D shooter.
2D shooter?
2D shooter.
A 2D shooter.
She used to be on the Facts of Life.
I like the way you can pick up weapons when you're kind of going and the weapons fall down, and you can switch your weapons. And you can switch your weapons if you want it to be on the bottom or if you want it to switch up to the top. The boss, the very first level boss. That guy was, wow.
Yep.
And then once you crank his head off and everything, then his stomach kind of flips up and he turns into like this mech thing and he's shooting you and you gotta kill that.
There's nothing really innovative about this kind of a game, but it's fun.
Square's got the polish down. It's just like every other game Square does. It's really, really slick. Graphics are beautiful. The lighting effects are beautiful. But, you know...
There's nothing to make you stop and go, wow!
Yeah, but it's still solid. If you want this kind of game, this is probably one of the best kind of shooters that you can buy, and there aren't many for the PlayStation.
I give it a 6.5.
I give it about a 7.
Okay, what else?
Chopper Attack for the Nintendo 64 from Midway.
Well, it's a helicopter game, and you're going around killing people, and...
Killing people is the best part, when they fly up in the air.
Well, the thing is, the people fall down, they disappear, you know...
Cool explosion.
Again, it's one of these things where it seems like Nintendo can't do, like, super realism games. It's always got to be, it seems a little lighthearted killing.
It's like one of the strike games for kids. You have a 3D helicopter, but you have no control over how high or how low that copter can
It's kind of like, you're kind of like almost on a track, not really.
Yeah,
but
it's almost like you got a hover bike. This game does have some pretty cool explosions and some neat weapons, cool power-ups that you can pick up. What would you give it?
A 6.
Yeah, that's almost generous. I'd give it about a 5.5. Okay, last game is Army Men from 3DO for the PC. What'd you think?
Well, here's the thing. Army Men's a funny game.
Yeah.
It's a great concept. The intro is hilarious. The whole, you know, you're playing Army Men and you're blowing things up and plastic's flying all over the place and things are melting and the mission objectives are very unique. Everything in the game I liked except one thing.
What's that?
And this one thing, to me, is real important in games, was the control. It's one of those games where to press up, you go forward,
Standard tank controls. I've been using that sort of tank control since combat on the 2600.
I want to be able to press up and have my guy go up.
Yeah. I like in this game how you can hop into tanks and suddenly you're like all powerful. You can crush the fences and go on down, and then you can blow up guys that are sitting up on ridges just taking pot shots.
I like when you're running around as an army guy, then you hit like the crouch, and then all of a sudden you turn into that army guy who's like on the ground.
And I like doing the recon missions. You press all the F buttons up top, and you get the planes flying over, and they can do air assaults. And it's a great little game. They did a really good job in this one.
It's a great little game. I give it an 8 overall, just being picky because I didn't like the control.
8.5 out of 10 for me.
Vic, come on, let's go. Let's just get this one. Come on, let's go. We'll see you next week.
Production assistance for the Electric Playground is provided by Nintendo, makers of 1080 Snowboarding. Eat.net, makers of NetFighter.
Man, that was quick.
Electronic Arts, makers of Need for Speed 3. Namco, makers of Tekken 3. To subscribe to Tips and Tricks, call 1-800-621-8977.
This classic episode of the Electric Playground was brought to you by PMP Games, your source for everything video games. Support the partners that support the Electric Playground. Thanks for watching, and play forever.